Okay, we're going to talk about how to solve quadratic equations on the graphing calculator. And so the basic steps we're going to go through are right here. We're going to enter the equation into y equals and then choose graph. You may have to adjust the window until you can see the zeros of the function by going to the window button and changing those values. You're going to press calculate, which you do by doing second trace, and pick the second option because we're trying to find the zeros of our quadratic equation. And then we're going to go through this process. We're going to click the left arrow until the cursor is to the left of one of our x-intercepts and hit enter. Click the right arrow until the cursor is to the right of the x-intercept, that same x-intercept, and hit enter. We're going to guess and hit enter, and then it'll tell us the answer. So we've got some examples here that we're just going to walk through together. So example 1, x squared plus 5x plus 2 equals 0. So you press the y equals button. The variable button right here, x comma t comma other stuff, that's where our x is that we want to use to do x squared plus 5x plus 2. We're going to press graph, and if your window, anytime you press graph, looks really ridiculous and funny, you can always go to zoom and pick the 6th option and it'll give you a standard window versus a weird window that you might have had. Now here's what's important, is quadratic equations can have up to 2 solutions, and so our solutions are where our graph is going through the x-axis. So you can see it does that here and it does that here. And to find these, we have to do our process 2 different times. So we're going to go second trace and choose 0. And what you want to do is you want to get close to one of your zeros, okay? And then we want to go just a little bit to the left of that 0. So press your left arrow, go a little bit to the left of this spot on our graph where we're going through the x-axis, press enter. Then we want to go to the right. We want to go to the right just enough so that we're past the x-axis, okay? And press enter. And if we've done that right, these little arrows should appear and they should be showing us that our 0 is in between there, okay? Where we go through the x-axis should be between those 2 bounds that we created. When we guess, we can move closer to our x-intercept to help the calculator guess. Press enter, and the first 0 we get is negative 0.438. Okay, so you would get on your paper and you would write x equals, which I'm not going to be able to do, but you'd get on your paper and you'd write x equals negative 0.438. Okay, that's our first 0. Our second 0, we're going to do the same process and go second trace, 0. But now we need to move our cursor by going left or right over to where the other 0 is. But we don't just want to go to it, we actually have to pick a point to the left of it. So keep going to the left by pressing the left arrow, okay, and press enter. Then go to the right until you're past the 0. Press enter. And then go into the middle and guess. And so our calculator says that's 4.562. If we round to 3 decimal places, negative 4.562. And so we would write that as the other part of our answer. We'd have those 2 things listed as x equals because both of these are solutions to our graph. Now let's do another example. So this next one is going to be x squared plus 6x plus 9. So you can either type over or clear and then go. Look at your graph. Now this is interesting. Because of the way our parabola is situated, it only actually is touching down here at the very bottom of the parabola. That point that we call the vertex, that's the only place it's touching. Okay, the problem before, we went through, which meant that we had 2 solutions, but if all we're doing is touching and then going back up, that means this will only have 1 solution. So go second trace and go down to 0. and move your cursor until you're to the left of that 0. Okay, press enter, then go to the right, press enter, go back to the middle, and guess, and it tells us the answer to this is -3. It's the only answer we have, so you just write down x equals -3, and that's it. Our last example here, x squared plus 4. Need to go back to y equals, clear, type in x squared plus 4, and graph. Well, this one's is different even more, or in a different way. Never mind. Okay, this parabola, our answers, what x equals is where it goes through the x-axis, but it doesn't go through the x-axis. So this problem has no real solutions, okay? Or for me at least, I'm happy with you just saying there is no solution to this. There's technically imaginary solutions, but we're not going to get into that right now. Okay, so you would say from the graph that it doesn't go through the x-axis, which means there are no solutions. X does not equal anything because it doesn't go through.